I'm Kristen Miglore, back with another genius recipe, and this week's recipe is for a granola that is both faster and simpler than any that I have made before, and it's all because it's missing what I thought was a key ingredient. I first stumbled on this recipe on Janae Claiborne's blog, Sweet Potato Soul, and when I first saw it, it so shocked me and so perfectly encapsulated what I was trying to do with this book, Simply Genius, that I ended up writing the intro about this recipe and the experience of making it. We are going to make it in a second. You're going to see why it was so shocking, but first, here's Janae to tell us the story behind how she came up with this recipe.
I also make these incredible tahini cookies, and I would make them so often. They've got tahini, maple syrup, cinnamon, nuts, chocolate chips. I'd make them so often, but have the hardest time actually getting them in the oven because I would be eating the batter. I'd eat at least 50% of the batter. And I finally realized, well, girl, why don't you just turn this into a granola so that you can have it, more every day. It's almost like eating the batter. So I was inspired by those cookies, really. I switched out the quick cook oats that I use in the cookies for more wholesome rolled oats, which keep me fuller for longer.
See all of our ingredients here? What do you think is missing? We have tahini, maple syrup, and I probably could have used a liquid measuring cup, but I'm living on the edge. Some vanilla, a little salt. Okay, do you have your guesses yet?
Where's the oil?
There you go. There is no oil and there's no melted butter, no added fat in a traditional sense, which I thought was needed for making granola. Otherwise, you're making muesli because you want that toasty crispiness that comes from the oil kind of soaking into the oats and other ingredients and getting crackly in the oven. But what it does have is the fat from tahini, which, if you're not familiar with tahini, it is a staple in Arab cuisine made from ground sesame seeds, which have a lot of natural sesame oil in them. But what that means is that it actually cooks start to finish in 15 minutes, whereas most granolas that I've made before take 45 minutes or an hour. So I'm gonna let Janae explain what she thinks is going on there.
I'm gonna make up some science. I do think it's because it is less wet, but also because tahini is just like my tahini cookies. It has more solids in it, so the liquid component of the tahini seems to dry out quicker, and you're left with almost like a tahini, dehydrated tahini, which keeps the batter and the granola nice and crispy. That's my theory.
Just based on my experience of making this granola compared to other ones, I think Janae is so spot on that other granolas I've made are so much wetter and heavier, and this is just gonna be such a light coating. So no wonder the other recipes take a bit longer to dry out and crisp up in the oven. So this one, we got some rolled oats in here, we got some pistachios, we've got some chia seeds, but really you can take this base and mix in anything you want. All right, I think that's pretty well mixed.
Yeah.
That's done. Just needs to go on a parchment or Silpat lined baking sheet and then spread out. It's kind of like one big granola bar that you then get to break up in whatever size clumps you want. So I'm just trying to get it out to a layer that is even and doesn't have pieces on the edges that are kind of lonely out by themselves and waiting to burn. This is going to be such a different experience from my other favorite granola recipe. Maybe you've seen it on this YouTube channel or on Food 52. It's for Nikizia Davis's olive oil and maple granola. It is so good. I will still make it forever.
This is gonna be the best granola you've had in your whole dang life, and it's one of the most popular recipes in the whole Genius Recipes milieu on Food 52 for very good reason.
But the difference here is that that one will take 45 minutes or so, stirring every 10 minutes to get it nice and crispy. This one is gonna go in at 350 and be done in 15 minutes. We are actually gonna stir that one time after 10 minutes just to make sure that the inside is cooking as much as the outside. I will still always make that other granola recipe from Nikezia Davis, I always make that when I don't know what to give people for a birthday or for a host gift or for the holidays, because everyone loves it and then they want to keep making it. I will still do that when I have 45 minutes or so when my daughter's in bed. But this is the recipe that I will make with her. Even when she's really little, I'll make it in between things when I only have 15 minutes, and I'll make it when I just want this incredible tahini flavor too. All right, it's been 10 minutes. Let's give it a stir. Okay, so see how it's starting to get a little bit golden around the edges, but it's still kind of wet in the middle here? Just gonna mix that up to make sure those edges don't burn before the middle gets cooked. This is gonna go back in for about another 5 minutes, but just to make sure you know exactly what to look for to know your granola's done, here is Janae and Rufus.
Oh my gosh. Rufus. He's going off. Go off, Rufus. Oh my gosh. Of course, it should look golden brown. Also, it should smell nice and toasty and sweet. And when you stir it around, it should look dry. It doesn't have to be nice and crispy right when you take it out of the oven, because it will crisp up as it cools. However, you shouldn't see any like wet batter left on your parchment paper.
This looks perfect, just like Janae described. It's golden, it's dry, it smells incredible. It just needs a little bit of time to cool before I can eat it. It also is something that is so incredibly riffable. I make it often enough with my daughter that we actually don't even necessarily always use the measurements. We just kind of like science experiment it, and we think, okay, what's in the pantry? What can we add this time? And the last time I asked her, what should we add? She actually said granola. And we did, and it was great. Janae has so many more ideas for riffing on it, so I'll let her tell you about those. And I will say, when she makes it for herself, she actually does not use the pistachios.
My favorite riffs on this granola are adding shredded sweet potato. You will have to bake it a little longer because the sweet potato does take a little extra time to dry out, but it is amazing and it looks so pretty. I also love making it with pecans stirred in. I'm actually allergic to pistachios, so pecans are my nut of choice, though they're not as pretty as the green pistachios. And of course, I love to add chocolate to anything, so add chocolate chips to the end and let them melt in the heat of the granola, and it's gonna be divine.
It's cool, and it's, as promised, it is nice and crispy now that it's cool. So you can break it up into whatever size clumps you want. I'm going to eat it with vegan yogurt in honor of Janae, who is a vegan cookbook author and chef, as well as some blueberries and pomegranates. I'm so excited. I just love that flavor and that crunch that only tahini can bring, and also only tahini without extra oil or butter is going to bring that like depth of nutty, smoky flavor and crunch. And only tahini alone will let you have granola in 15 minutes. I hope you make this recipe. I hope that you riff on it and let us know in the comments what you've done. If you want to hear more from Janae herself about this recipe and the creative, no rules ways that she develops recipes like this, tune into our podcast, The Genius Recipe Tapes, anywhere you get your podcasts. And this is the last episode of the year. So I hope that you all have very happy, healthy holidays, and that you will consider this book if you are trying to think of what to get for folks who are just starting out cooking or who just want really good food and do not have the time. Thank you so much. Happy holidays, and I will see you next year.